Hello, welcome to Cooking with Cleo. Today we are going to be making a banana and chocolate marble bread. First, grab a medium-sized mixing bowl and measure out 1 cup of sugar and then put it in your bowl. The next thing we're going to do is measure half a cup of oil and add that into our bowl as well. You can see that I'm using a dry measuring cup. I promise this will not ruin the recipe. It would matter if we were multiplying this recipe by 30, but we're not. Now, let's go ahead and take 2 eggs, crack them, and put them into our bowl. Now we're ready to add our bananas in. We're adding 1 cup of bananas and mixing that all in. I used frozen bananas, but you don't have to use frozen bananas. You can just use bananas that have been sitting on your counter for too long. If you do use frozen, just keep in mind that there may be a little extra liquid, but that's okay. Now, for my mom's secret ingredient. This is some sour cream. We're going to measure half a cup of sour cream and put it into our batter. The sour cream helps to make the banana bread extra moist and so delicious. It cuts the sugar a little bit, so I think it tones down the overall sweetness of the bread, and it just really makes it more rounded flavor overall. And then, of course, we'll mix that in together as well. All right, so we're mixing, and after we're finished mixing, we are going to go ahead and add some vanilla to our batter. We need a teaspoon of vanilla, but you'll see me measure twice here. That's just because I cannot find my teaspoon measure anywhere, so I'm using half a teaspoon and just measuring it in twice. Then I'm mixing that in a little bit more. Okay, so now it is time to add our dry ingredients. Some people take a separate bowl and they measure out their dry ingredients and mix all the dry ingredients together and then whisk it into the batter slowly. I think that's a waste of time and a waste of a bowl. So I am just going to go ahead and measure my ingredients straight into the bowl. We're using 1.5 cups of flour, and we are using 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Now, you'll see me once again measuring twice. This is still just because I don't know where my teaspoon measure is. So, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and then you'll see that I almost forgot the salt, but we have it, and we will be adding in half a teaspoon of salt. Salt you mix, try not to spill out of the bowl. Don't go too fast. Slowly incorporate. You can see that I kind of let the flour explode out of the bowl, and we're going to try to avoid that. So now that our batter is all mixed together, we're going to take a loaf pan and spray it with some cooking spray, and then we're going to go ahead and scoop the batter into our loaf pan. Try to scrape the sides of the bowl and make sure to get as much batter into the pan as you can. The first time I made this recipe, I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of batter in the loaf pan, but don't worry, it's going to turn out right and it's going to be delicious. Then this is now how we make the marble. So we're going to take some cocoa powder and just put a nice generous line on top. If you're worried about not measuring, because I frequently don't measure things, but I know some people really hate doing that. If you're worried about not measuring, go ahead and just measure out like a 1/4 cup of Hershey's cocoa and then just go ahead and put it in that strip on top. And now we're going to fold it into the dough, not the dough, the batter, and you'll see I'm folding in, and then I get a little lazy and I just kind of go crazy with the chopstick. And that's okay. If you don't have a chopstick, you can also use a fork or any like long skinny tool that you have in your kitchen that would work to spread the cocoa into the batter. And then we are ready now to put our bread into the oven. So we're going to go ahead and put it in the oven at 350 for an hour. And now an hour has passed. We're going to pull our bread out. We're going to jiggle it, see if it moves. You can even poke the top and see if it moves. And if it doesn't, that means the bread's ready. Let it sit and cool for about anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, and then you can turn it out onto a cooling rack. I just turned it out onto a cutting board. It's no big deal either way. You can cut and serve immediately for a warm banana bread, or you can let it cool completely. And as always, let's check in and see how Cleo likes it. Do you like it? Do you like it? It's yummy, huh? Oh, you dropped it.